This is Paul. Could you call the United Nations for me? The basic principles of justice for victims of crime and the abuses of power of those that are employees of the city and county? Yeah. Now I'm gonna want to use that court system, the International Criminal Court. Yeah. My marriage certificate was issued from the United Nations. Yeah. Now there's an office for victims of crime that developed to oversee the Crime Victims Fund. Yeah. I'm going to want some of those crime victims funds today. Yeah. Now, you as a city and county could really evaluate should you, yes, be giving me some funds known as victims resources because I emailed the state legislature, the Seattle Police Department. Yeah. And then there's the governor's office where you as an executive branch of this state, yeah, will get sued for refusing right now. You're getting sued. Ouch. Now, I've been sitting here emailing those in office, yes, about numerous crimes. Oh, and they have the evidence, and they said, well, we're not going to give you any victims' resources. We're going to keep you at a location where you're vulnerable. Yes. And then we're going to wait for somebody to abuse their power so that you have to live in a residence, right, where you've been paying the utilities. Now, let's look through the victims' resources available to myself. Yeah. And then there's Marilyn Van Proyen. I asked her, yeah, why don't you take me out to dinner? See, Mike did the same thing when I was living at 1023 Kitchen Dick Road. Yes, on approximately the 20th, yeah, of December of 2012, he turned the electricity off on me. Now, I had left all my personal items at that location and I went to my grandmother's house for that Christmas. Yeah. At the same time, you had a court hearing where there was a dissolution of marriage. Yeah. I never got a copy of it. Oh! Now, it could be that some victims' resources are available for those that are victims of domestic violence. And when I think about the amount of money I'm going to sue every state for because of me having to live in a location where the utilities were not, well, they were turned off, they were paid. Yes, it turns out that, well, why don't you get me the victims' resources in every state of the United States? Now, the Crime Awareness and Campus Security Act. Ouch! I did email campus security at numerous locations. Yes. And then there's the Victims' Rights and Restitution Act. Yes. That mandates, yes, specific investigative procedures and victim services that have to be followed by those that are federal employees of the United States. They're called federal officials, but they're actual employees. And then the working with the crime victims. Now, there's been this reluctance on the part of the federal employees of the United States. He's really upset.